Okay. Today we will look at thermal expansion. But again, before we start the discussion, the results that we use in these chapters are all experimental. Okay. So conceptually, to get a deeper understanding is actually very hard because you'll have to understand at an atomic and molecular level what is going on. Okay, so thermal expansion is like you are heating objects, okay, be it solids or liquids, and then they're expanding. That we can see. But like I said, to gain a deeper understanding, is like an understanding at atomic and molecular level is often very hard. Okay, so but for NEET and JEE mains, I don't think we're planning to do that.
Mm.
Okay, it is good. Like, if you read the discussions are there in many of the very good physics textbooks that we have. You can always read them and then appreciate. But right now, I'm not sure we will have time for that. You understand? And then it may not be required for these exams. So let's start with a question. Okay, so can you read this question and then answer this?
I can't see any question.
You can't see anything?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm unable to open the lid of the jar, what can I do to open the lid of the jar?
Heat it maybe.
Very good. You heat the metal, the lid is made of metal. So if you heat it, okay, so in some way, suppose you pour hot water onto it, then because of the temperature increase, it is going to expand a little. And then it becomes easier to loosen it. I think you get this, right? So in this case, clearly thermal expansion is useful. Okay, so you want the metal to expand so that you can like remove the lid of the jar, and then you also like eating dal rice with ghee.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so let's. Okay, so now, okay, so in the last example, it is helpful when objects expand, but sometimes expanding objects can actually lead to accidents. Okay, so do you know any such things? Like, where do you think like expanding objects, if things are not taken care properly, well, if certain engineering solutions are not placed, this is where engineering is very very important and then practical. Okay,
Like
if engineering solutions are not in place, we can see accidents happen.
bridges and trains.
Very good. Bridges. And what about rails?
That's what rails like they expand in the summer, something like that.
Yeah, so what do they do,
They
Malab?
place, they make like a gap kind of thing, and then so that
Very
when it
good.
expands, they're still.
Nice. So they place a small gap between two rail
Yeah.
tracks, so that not only during summer but during the day also, if you see certain parts of the let's say in certain parts the temperature fluctuations are like very high. So when the temperature rises, the railway track will expand into that gap. Okay, and then it does not buckle or it does not bend. Okay, if it bends, then there is danger. How about bridges? I mean, what are used on bridges? Like,
Bridges are also made of those metal wires intertwined and like curled or whatever.
okay, what are they called? Any name that you know of?
I did. I mean, I forgot. I I did a
I don't know.
project on it also.
I really like the sound when we go onto the bridge. Let's say when I drive car or like a bike onto the bridge, you get that sound taka taka. You pass through that something. Oh, you see some metal suddenly, right? You have this concrete bridge, and then anyway, well, concrete and then steel, they are like anyway mixed for strength. But you see those steel things when the
Yeah.
vehicle goes on top of them.
Mm.
Have you noticed that they're actually expansion joints?
Mm.
Okay, so when the temperature increases, they like, see, the idea here is they somehow try to give freedom for these objects. Matlab they leave purposefully certain gaps so that they expand into that gap when temperatures rise, and then it'll allow people to go smoothly on the bridge.
Mm.
Okay, and I think these are all like very nice engineering solutions. Okay, but again, we are not going to get into all these discussion anyway. So just to keep in mind that, yeah, when temperature increases, things expand. In certain cases, that expansion is useful.
Mm.
Certain cases, if you don't do something, okay, no, it is bad to prevent expansion also. You allow the expansion, but at the same time you try to live with that. You understand? So
Yeah.
you're not trying to like stop the expansion, you try to live with the expansion safely. That is the idea. Even in rail tracks, okay, expanding, if you don't live with it nicely, then it is dangerous. So the same thing with the expansion joints. Okay, so I don't know, matlab, slowly we might get into philosophy there. Okay, but let's not go there. Okay, so I think we talked about this. Okay, so small gap is left, and then that metal expansion joints. Okay, now if you look at this chapter, I'm sure you know this formula, right? Don't you know this formula?
Completely forgot. It looks new to me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but then this is somehow similar to, like, I don't know. In you have that thermal coefficient or the
Yeah,
whatever.
this is the, see, I mean, all these are like experimental, and they are reasonable only when this change in temperature is very small.
Mm.
Okay, so suppose if I take a rod, metal rod, suppose. So let's say the initial length of the metal rod is L naught, suppose. Now, when I increase the temperature by delta T, the change in the length will be proportional to the original length, and obviously the change in temperature. And then again, different materials expand differently, so there has to be some material specific constant, which is called the linear coefficient of thermal expansion.
Mm.
Okay, so this alpha is linear coefficient of thermal expansion. You understand this?
Yeah.
And then similarly, if you don't have a thin rod, but you have some plate with some initial area. Okay, so the change in area is proportional to the original area, and then change in temperature. And again, this is like, you can say, areal coefficient of thermal expansion.
Mm.
And then for materials which expand equally in all directions, these are called, I mean, if you have same properties in all directions, I think you know this term, right? Isotropic.
Mm.
Okay, so in such a case, we can say this beta is equal to 2 alpha. You can do that. Okay, so sometimes only alpha will be given, but you need beta. You can take twice of alpha. The same thing here. If you have like some block with initial volume V naught, again the change in volume will be proportional to the change in temperature, original volume, and then this is the volume coefficient of thermal expansion. Again, keep in mind, if you look at this alpha, beta, gamma values, uh, they depend on temperature, okay, but we are not looking into that aspect, okay. So somehow we are only treating them to be constants, and then that is, I think, fairly okay if the change in temperature is small. Now how small is reasonable, again, is a difficult question. You understand? How small is reasonable, we are not touching. I know, I mean, there are a lot of things even I don't know. So how small, we are not touching. And again, obviously we are not like increasing the temperature by a lot. You cannot expect this formula to be valid when you are heating the material almost till the melting point of the material.
Okay.
Okay, so then it is going to beginning to turn into liquid. Obviously this will not be valid. Okay. But if you think about the thermal expansion chapter, this is more than enough. Okay. But sometimes they, if you see the questions asked in NEET and JEE Main, sometimes they mix chapters, because this is like there's only few formulae on which you can ask questions. They try to mix things. Okay. Okay, this, I think you might be familiar with this question. Would you like to answer this? A metal plate with a hole is shown in the figure, and then what happens to the size of the hole if the temperature rises?
It'll shrink.
Why do you think the hole size will shrink?
Because it'll, I mean, the thing, metal, this thing will expand. So
Yeah.
it just won't expand outside. It'll probably expand inside as well. So.
Okay. Okay, let's do one thing. Okay, let's do one thing. Now this metal ring with a hole, can I visualize it as, let's say if I take a collection of rings and then I place them so that it exactly looks like this. All these rings are not connected, they're not welded. Okay, so they're placed. Okay, if I take a collection of rings, if I take collection of rings and then I place them together, let's say like this, I have one ring and then after that I place another ring, another ring, another ring, and so on. And again, I will not leave gap. Okay, so I'll place all those rings. Now when you heat these rings, each ring will expand. The innermost ring will also expand. Do you think there will be anything different here? So what should happen to the size of the hole?
Remain the same.
Increases. It does not shrink, it becomes bigger. You understand?
Okay.
Becomes bigger. So you understand this collection of rings idea? Keep that in mind. Okay. So, like I said, some of these problems, they're mixed. Okay, so you will need this Young's modulus definition. I'm hoping you know this.
Yeah.
Young's modulus is like stress by strain. Okay, so some of the problems they use, so this force can be tensile or compressive force. Okay. And then this is another concept. Sometimes when you have liquid in a vessel, now you increase the temperature of the liquid and the vessel. Okay, now both of them are expanding. Now if this vessel is a measuring jar, it has already marking, suppose. The expansion of the liquid is relative to that jar. Apparent expansion. Okay, so with respect to jar, how much has it expanded? Has
Okay.
it has increased in volume, the liquid, or decreased in volume? That's what we are trying to find here. So here, if you see apparent expansion, you just keep this in mind. It is just nothing but change in volume of liquid minus change in volume of the vessel, because you're doing some relative change.
Mm.
You just keep this in mind. I think if they ask any problem related to this, you will be able to understand.
Okay.
And again, for a vessel, it is made up of metal. Sometimes they might give you its volume coefficient of expansion. If they don't, they might give you linear expansion. Then you'll have to use 3 times that alpha.
Mm.
So keep this in mind. Okay, you want to try this?
Okay.
So here you have a cylindrical rod, right? So let's say this is the rod, suppose. Now the length is L. Okay. Now if I allow it to expand, okay, again these things are happening simultaneously, but suppose if the rod expands, so this becomes L plus delta L. Now this delta L I can find using, let's say, initial length into alpha. Alpha is not given here, gamma is given. So I can
Alpha.
write that as gamma by 3
Oh.
into delta T. You're okay? Now, when it is placed between, let's say, it is subjected to a compressive, longitudinal compressive force.
Mm.
Okay, so because you are applying a force here and here, what will happen? It will not expand to this. Okay, so that means this force is ensuring that this delta L is restricted. Okay, so without expansion, let's say if you as it expands, you are like sort of pushing it back.
Mm.
So now if I use the definition of the Young's modulus, it is force per unit area, which is area of cross section, which I'll take it as pi r square by change in length over length.
Mm.
Now we want this Young's modulus. Now change in length, we have it here. So which I can substitute here. This is, by the way, gamma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have F by pi r square, and then from here delta L by L, I can write it as gamma. This 3 goes upstairs, and then delta T comes here. So this is the answer. You understand? We're just
Okay.
using like these definitions, all experimental results.
Mm.
So that's the answer we should get. Okay, so try this. In this,
L minus.
if I take measured length is L, what will be the actual length?
Actually, it would be L minus something.
L minus?
Del L.
Okay, tell me one thing. If the measured length is L, will it, the actual length will be more than L or smaller than L?
Smaller than L.
Why?
Because if the temperature is increased, then it expanded. So
think about it. Okay, so let's talk about that point. Okay, so imagine I have a scale. Okay, so this is my scale. Then I have these markings. Okay, so I start with 0, let's say 1, 2, 3. So TK, I mean, I think that's good enough. Now, when it expands, this 3 centimeters, whatever, 3 millimeters, 3 centimeters, whatever it is, that is spread across a larger area.
Mm.
I mean, because the scale is expanding, it becomes bigger, right? So maybe the 0 is here. Now, if you take 1, 1 will be here, 2 will be here, 3 will be here. So if you see space wise, you are actually having these 3 markings over a larger space now, because the scale has expanded. So the markings will also get spreaded. Na? The gap between the markings is increasing, but
Oh.
you're still taking it as 1. Between 0 and 1, let's say if it is 1 millimeter, you're still taking it as 1 millimeter when the gap is actually more than 1 millimeter. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Okay, so what will
Yeah. I mean,
happen? You get this?
yeah.
So that means if you take this distance as L, let's say this gap as L, it would have become here, it would have increased L plus delta L. But this
Mm.
L plus delta L is taken as L. You understand?
Yeah.
L plus delta L is read as L. Okay, so if the measured length is L, this is if this is measured, then this will be actual.
Yeah.
So I think since I've forgotten the length, I think we'll just keep it in terms of L. So I can just write L plus L into alpha into delta t, and then you can keep the values like 1 plus alpha would be how much? 11 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 10 to the power, sorry, I think, what is the time? 10. So whatever is this, okay, so you understand this?
Mm.
This is the actual. You know, one interesting thing about this unit. I mean, if you see this, even I don't know. Sometimes I don't teach this to my students. I forget. Well, it's not that it is important. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I forget. When it comes to this chapter, this 0 per degree Celsius, no, this
Mm.
0 is actually kept after C. If you see
Oh, yeah.
35 degrees Celsius, this 0 is supposed to be closer to this,
Yeah.
but this 0 per degree Celsius, it is usually kept after C. Have you ever noticed that? Just convention. There are many things like that. And you
Oh.
know, heat and temperature, you say degree Celsius, but you don't say degree Kelvin.
Mm.
Only Kelvin. So, keep that. I mean, these are like maybe language aspects, but let us not get into that. See, I think I gave 50 centimeters myself and then solved it. So, okay, so try this. Anyway, stretch it, right? Suppose the temperature doesn't change. The weight would stretch it. The length should increase. Now, okay. Do you think the temperature went down or went up?
Went down.
Went down. Very good. Because the weight would actually stretch it, the temperature should go down. Now, if I think about delta L because of contraction, let's say because of contraction, the decrease in temperature here will still be like L into alpha into delta T. So we want to find this delta T.
Mm.
Now, when the research student takes
Uh,
this copper wire and then puts this block, so this block of mass m is applying that stress, right? You're able to see or not?
no, I'm not able to
Oh, okay, okay, I forgot. Okay, what I'm saying is delta L is equal to L into alpha into delta T.
Mm.
Because the temperature has decreased, so there is a contraction, there's a change, decrease in length. Now let's keep this aside. Now if you attach a block at the lower end of the wire, this block is going to apply stress. Okay, so if I look at the Young's modulus definition, which is stress, which is mg by area. Area is, let's say, area is given. Area is given, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so area, we can find area. So that is like pi r square by change in length over
I
length.
can't see any.
You can't see still?
Wait, oh, you're writing on top.
Writing at the top. Okay. Yes, sorry.
Got it.
So you understand that? So now here, these two changes in length. Okay, so this is expansion, this is contraction. So they are managed somehow. Okay, so that means in order to find the temperature, I need delta T. So I'll try to equate these two guys. So I have L into alpha into delta T is equal to, from here I'll take delta L, which is mg L by Young's modulus into pi r square. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, I think L disappears. Delta T we should calculate now. Delta T into this is around 17 into 10 to the power minus 6, and the right hand side I have this will become 374. Length is 85 centimeters, so I'll write it as 0.85.
But length gets cancelled, no?
Oh, length gets cancelled, right? Yeah. I don't need that. Yeah, length gets cancelled. I forgot again here. So you can ignore that. Length you can ignore. So y is given as 119 into 10 to the power 11, I think 9. Okay, pi, if you see 119, I think it is a multiple of 7. So pi, for calculation purposes, I'll use 22 by 7 into r square. 1 millimeter. So if I write it in meters square, I think it will be 10 to the power minus 6. You're okay? So now let's see if we can calculate this. So what do we get? So suppose this is 374.
17 into 22 is 374. So
17 into
22.
Acha, okay, so that is good news. So I think numbers are nicely given. So 17 into 22, right? So this 22 disappears. And then this is like 7. I
17.
think this is 17. Okay, so I have basically 1 by 17. And then if I look at the powers, I think into 10 to the power 3.
Minus 3.
So this will become 10 to the power 3.
Minus 3, no? If it goes up.
In the denominator, 10 to the power minus 3, it will come into the numerator.
No, denominator is 10 to the power of 3, no?
No, there is a 10 to the power 9, and then there is a 10 to the power minus 6 will also go to the left, right hand.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this is basically 1000 by 17. Roughly how much would that be, 1000 by 17? So 17.5 will be 85, right?
85.
85, and then I have 150. So roughly 150. So 17 8. How much is 17 8? 17
136.
136. So I think we can go till 17 9 roughly. So the change
153. No, 17 nines are 153 though.
153. So I think the change in the is this fine? I mean, if this calculation is okay, then the temperature has dropped.
Yeah.
a lot, right? You start with 30, then you will actually go to around minus 29, which looks like
29?
not very convincing.
No, how? 29.
This is a change in temperature, right? So
Oh,
I need,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
so I'm at 30, so I should go till minus 29 degrees Celsius, which is very unlikely. I mean, I don't think in a realistic scenario we will go through such large changes in temperature suddenly. That's huge. Okay. Okay.
Why would it be minus though? It won't be just 29.
No, no, no. But you are starting at 30, right? So if you're starting at 30, then you're going,
Oh,
the decrease is 59. So if the decrease
okay.
is 59, it will be like minus 29, right? So it's like highly unrealistic problem. I don't think you will see like maybe some alien planet. Okay. So try this. Okay, I think supposed to ask. Oh, where are the questions?
Yeah.
Acha, is the questions that yeah. So the difference in length is same. So that means the change in length should be same. Okay, so at all temperatures, so that means if this is same, then we can say that let's say alpha 1 into L1 is equal to alpha 2 into L2. So the L1 by L2 is alpha 2 by alpha 1. Yeah, I think 11 by 22, so 1 by 2. Very nice. Okay, so try this. So here, again, the idea is if this is not, let's say if this is not, oh, what happened? I think I did not select the pen. Okay. See, if this interface, sorry, this junction is not moving, so that means that the steel and the other brass rod, the change in length is zero. You understand? So that means the change in length due to thermal is equal to change in length due to mechanical compressive stress, right? Now that we understand what is going on, we can write it directly. Now, whatever force that these fixed supports are supplying, let's say if I call that F compressive, that's the same force gets applied on either of the rods, right? In the opposite directions. So what we can do here is, because of thermal, okay, so because of thermal changes, I can write it as, let's say, initial length into alpha into change in temperature, let's say. Here, mechanically, if you look at the definition of Young's modulus, I'll write it here. It is force by area by change in length by length. So which I can write it as, uh, it would be FL by AY. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Now area of cross section is same. But if you look at this, if you look at this, okay, if you look at this, maybe this is steel. Okay, so this is for steel. The length is for steel. I can write a similar thing, maybe for brass, alpha brass. The change in temperature is same. The force
Yeah.
would be same, and length of brass by area into y. Are you with me so far?
Mm.
Now, if you think about this, how do I get the Young's modulus of the brass? If I look at this, alpha, can I say alpha S into Young's modulus of steel? Here I can write it as F by delta T, F by A delta T.
Mm.
So similarly here, alpha into brass, this is Young's modulus of brass, into Young's modulus of brass is F by A delta T. So that means if I compare the left hand sides, can I write the product of linear coefficient of expansion and the Young's modulus, they're equal.
Yeah.
Right? So from here, I think alpha steel is given, which is 11 into 10 to the power minus 6. And then Young's modulus of steel is given 200.
200.
And then alpha for B is 22 into 10 to the power minus 6. And then Young's modulus of B. I think if you look at this, Young's modulus of B would be how much? I think this is 100 GPa.
100. Mm.
Now, once you get this, I can use either of the equations to answer
Yeah. Force.
compressive force. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that I
compressive
got.
force would be
264 newtons.
so I think you can get this, right? 264 newtons. You can calculate
Yeah.
this. No, I think that is correct. Yeah. Okay, so try answering this. Do here is, see, uh, let's take a look at this. Initially, okay, so initially, if I say fraction immersed, okay, so whatever is inside, fraction immersed, you remember from buoyant force, let's say fraction immersed can be written as density of the wooden block, or maybe I'll write density of block by density of water. You know this? Now, if you look at the change in volume is original volume into gamma into delta T, right? So the new volume would become V into 1 plus gamma into delta T. You understand this? A new volume would become this.
Okay. Yeah.
The mass of an object does not change.
Mm.
Okay, so if I'm looking at the density, new density would be, mass would be same, divided by new volume,
Yeah.
which I can write it as m by v into 1 plus gamma delta t. So
Yeah.
that means new density, I can write it as old density divided by 1 plus gamma into delta t. Are you okay?
Mm. Yeah.
So suppose if I'm trying to find the new fraction immersed. So new fraction immersed, suppose if I write it as new fraction immersed, will be new density of the wooden block
Mm.
and new density of water, let's say. I mean, it hardly changes, but you get the idea. So now I use this, okay. For wooden block, I have density of wood divided by 1 plus gamma of wood. Gamma of wood would be 3 times its alpha. So I'll write 15 into 10 to the power minus 6. And then similarly here I'll write density of water. If I divide, it comes into the upstairs. So 1 plus gamma, which is 210 into 10 to the power minus 6. I think I forgot the temperature change. What is the temperature change here?
20. 20.
Yeah, 20. So put that 20 here. I think put that 20. Now if you look at this is the new fraction. New fraction is old fraction into, I have some number which is 1 plus 210 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 20 in the numerator, and the denominator I have 1 plus 15 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 20. Now tell me, is this number greater than 20 or lesser than 20? Is this
Greater
number
than 20.
greater than, sorry, what am I saying? Is greater than f. F nu is greater than f, because
Yeah.
numerator is greater than denominator.
Mm.
Because numerator is greater than denominator, I can say the new fraction emerged is greater than the old fraction emerged. And then you know this, right? If the relative density is 0.6, 60% will be immersed. Because if you put ice cube in water, 90% of it is inside water, floating.
Mm.
The relative density of ice cube is 0.9. So now here new fraction immersed is greater than old fraction immersed. So what should be the answer? It should
Greater
be
than 60.
greater than 60%. You understand this?
Yeah.
So let's move on. Okay, so try this. See here, I think you know the time period of a simple pendulum, right? I think we are assuming it to be a simple pendulum here. So it is 2 pi under root L by G.
Root. Yeah.
So let's say the correct time period is, let's say, T naught. Okay, so let's say old time period is T naught, which is correct. Let's say this is T naught. Now, because the temperature has increased, the new time period is, let's say, T. Now I can write T naught as 2 pi under root, let's say the old length is L naught by G. So if I divide these two, what do I get? T by T naught would be square root of L by L naught. Now I can write L as original length into 1 plus alpha into change in temperature. This L naught disappears. Now here I can write T by T naught as, if I use the, you know binomial expansion, 1 plus x raised to n is equal to 1 plus nx if x is much smaller than 1. You know this? 1 plus x raised to n is 1 plus nx if x is very small compared to 1. So here I have 1 plus alpha is very small usually. So this is 1 plus alpha into delta t raised to half. Alpha is very small, so alpha into delta t will be very small. So this roughly can be written as 1 plus half into delta t.
Okay.
Okay, so here if I subtract, I will get t minus t naught by t roughly as alpha, I forgot, half into alpha into delta t. So this is the change in time period per second. Okay, so change in time period per second. So per day, in one day you have 86,400 seconds. So what you do is you try to find how many seconds there is a gain or loss. So alpha is 2 into 10 to the power minus 5 into change in temperature is 15 into, I'll have to multiply by 86400. So I think this will be like 1 point, I think this disappears. I can write it as maybe 1.5 into 8.64. So if you look at it roughly, I'll take half of 8.64. So that is 4.3. So this should come roughly 13 seconds. Now keep in mind what is happening the length of the pendulum is increasing. If the length of the pendulum increases, the time period increases. Suppose old time period is say 4 seconds. The current time period may be 5 seconds. It is taking 5 seconds to complete the oscillation, but you are not aware of that fact. You're ignorant of that fact. In these problems, it is assumed like that. So that means what? For every 5 seconds out there, you are counting it as only 4 seconds.
Okay.
So that means you are losing time. Okay, so you are losing 13 seconds. You get the idea? Okay.